The dating scene has changed so much that some women are now willing to get on social media and beg for men to approach them.
We are begging.
And it's quite sad for men and women when you look at the rising male virginity rate and you hear women like this saying, please talk to me. And with this particular woman who's quite pretty, she even got to the point where she said, screw it, I'm going to talk to a guy myself. And she went up and talked to a guy, as you'll hear in a second, and he was neutral, didn't show her interest, didn't try to flirt with her, and she walked away and didn't know what to do. She just felt like, okay, I tried to put myself out there and it didn't work. So have a look at this clip. I have some more clips to show you in this video. Let's start with this one.
I'm feeling like I am just in a world of loneliness because... Okay, no one get fucking Jordan, are you okay? No one do that, okay? I'm all right. I'm not actually depressed. I'm just saying it's very rare that anyone is social when you're out in any type of setting. Everyone keeps to them fucking selves. Whether you're looking to say hi to a pretty girl or not, or you're just trying to make friends. It's so hard unless I'm literally sitting at a bar where the bartender is forced to talk to me. No one is ever social whenever I'm out. I'm trying to go out and meet new people. I'm trying to not work from home. I'm trying to go work at a coffee shop from home. You know what I mean? And see what happens, right? And nothing's happening ever. It's so exhausting and it's so draining. And it's why the fuck do I even try? Why did I put makeup on? I'm just not even looking to meet my husband. I'm looking to just talk.
One thing to point out here is, she's being very honest in many ways, but she's also saying something there that many guys can take the wrong way, where she said, I'm not even looking to find my husband. And one of the reasons she has to say that is she's already putting herself out there on social media saying that she wants guys to talk to her. And if she says that she's looking for a husband, she really wants a husband because her friends have that, then people in the comments are going to say, well, you must be giving off a needy energy. And guys don't like it when women are focused on them getting married right away and you need to take it slow and so on. So she has to say those sort of things. But some guys can take it the wrong way and think that, all right, well, she doesn't even want a husband. She doesn't even seem to want a guy. She said she just wants to talk to people, which is not true. She's trying to find a boyfriend or a husband.
Looking to just talk to anyone. Because I'm living by myself. I'm single. My friends are doing things with their fucking husbands. Sometimes it's hard. You try to put yourself out there, but everyone is
so she's putting herself out there, right? She's trying, and her idea of putting herself out there is to work from a cafe, right? Bring her laptop and work from a cafe and hope that a guy will come over and talk to her. But as you'll see with some clips later in the video, it doesn't always look like the woman wants to be approached, because many women in public situations will have body language that suggests they don't want to be spoken to, right? So it's tricky for some men to figure out when they should walk over and talk to a woman. So
everyone is so used to the easy option of going on dating apps or just sticking to themselves. I don't know.
So she's making an assumption, which many women do these days, same with guys, that everyone is using dating apps. But then when you look at the numbers, right, most dating app users are men. But then when you actually look at the numbers of how many people in the population are actually using dating apps, the numbers are low. But dating app companies will make it seem like everyone's using dating apps, and they'll pay to get put into TV shows and movies. They'll get featured on the news and so on. And it will look like everyone's using dating apps these days, but you really have to look at the numbers. And you also have to understand that the majority of women don't use dating apps. And not only do they not use dating apps, but most women actually hate dating apps. They detest them. They don't like them at all. And you really have to think about why that is the case, right? And one of the reasons why is that a woman's instinct of attraction is to get with a man that other women find attractive. And what many women assume when they see a guy on a dating app is that women don't want him in real life, and that's why he has to get on a dating app. And for some guys, their photos will really give off that impression in terms of their body language. The woman will be able to sense that he's not a confident guy and realize that women aren't going to be feeling attracted to him in person. So why should she give him a chance on a dating app? Whereas for most men, they're not thinking about those sort of things. And when they're on a dating app, they're just looking at women going, yep. And it's just a yes, he would have sex with her. Or yes, he would potentially have a short-term relationship with her. And he's essentially just saying yes to most. And for many guys, they end up swiping right on pretty much every woman to hopefully get some matches to then feel confident, to feel like they're getting results. But they don't ever realize that the amount of women on the apps is very small. It's mostly men. And a certain percentage of the women aren't even real. They're bots. They're fake accounts. Right? So he's swiping and hoping that he's going to get results, and he's not even really being seen by many women, because for some apps, they end up filtering guys out based on height. The women who actually use dating apps have so much choice with men, because it's mostly men on there, that they start getting really picky and start saying, all right, well, 6'1" and above, right? And guys who are swiping on those women, because the apps will let them see the women, are hoping that they're going to get a match, but those women will never even see them, because they're filtering those guys out based on height. However, it's important for guys to understand that the absolute majority of women do not use those apps. They don't like them, they don't ever want to use them, and they would rather meet a guy in real life, and that is the reality. Yet for a lot of guys, they see things on the news about dating apps and they think that it's the number one way to meet women, because that is what is put out in the press release by those dating app companies. And then when they see interviews with women on TikTok, the woman's being asked questions like, how tall does a guy have to be with you? And she's saying 6 foot. And then what happens for many guys is that they end up thinking that all women think like that, and that's what they want. Prior to making this video, for example, I went on TikTok looking for videos of women asking men to approach them. And in the comments, you see guys saying, well, you guys told us not to approach, or you told us not to approach, or, well, I'm not 6'3" and jacked, so why should I even bother walking up and talking to a woman? So they've heard a woman say on TikTok or whatever, when she's being interviewed, that a guy needs to be 6 foot. And then other guys who react to that and make videos about it and get angry about it start saying that women only want a guy who's 6'3" and jacked and rich, and every other guy doesn't have a chance. So they end up believing that about women. They end up looking at women and thinking that they all want that, because in the guy's mind, he's thinking, well, everyone's using dating apps, and he's heard that most guys don't get results on dating apps because women go for the tall, handsome men. So that's what they really want. They only want the tall, handsome men. So some guys feel disappointed by that, and other guys feel disgusted by it, right? That women are revealing their true nature, that they just want a 6 foot or a 6'3" guy with big muscles and lots of money. And women only want that because in his mind, everyone's using dating apps, and guys can't get results on dating apps because women are only going for those sort of guys. So he's looking at women thinking that they're all like that, when the majority of women aren't even using dating apps, and they aren't like that in real life. When you look at the sort of guys who get girlfriends, you'll notice that they're all different types of guys. They're not 6'3", jacked and rich or anything like that. They just look like normal everyday guys. So with this woman here, she's thinking that one of the reasons guys aren't walking up and talking to her is that they're just going for the easy option of using dating apps. She also believes that everyone's on dating apps, and that's all everyone does these days.
I fall blame to it too, because I sit in my corner and I do my work, and it is what it is. But when I'm out and I see a cute man, like, you bet your ass I'm giving the signals.
So she's saying a cute man, and many guys will assume she's thinking tall, handsome when they watch this sort of video, and they'll think, well, yeah, I mean, if I walked over and talked to you, you'd reject me. You just want a tall, handsome man, and that's what she means by cute. But what women refer to as cute means a guy that they feel sparks of attraction for. And sometimes it can be because of the guy's looks, sure. But sometimes it can be the guy is secure in his masculinity, he's confident, and he has good presence, and he doesn't seem intimidated by her or the situation that he's in. And she's looking at him and she's noticing his strength emotionally, right? His internal strength. And she's like, yeah, he's cute. And she's feeling attracted to him because of that. Right? But most guys will assume that she's saying a tall, handsome, perfect looking guy. And therefore, when they hear a woman say something like this, they think, well, yeah, she's wanting to be approached, but just by a chat. A guy who's 6'3" and so on.
Going up to men. You guys think I'm not going up to men? Like a dude in a Bears hat last weekend. I was like, oh, I like your Bears hat. Went up to him, blah, blah, blah. Went all confident. And then he just literally wanted nothing to do with me. I was like, okay, cool, swerve. That's what you do. I don't know.
So she shot her shot, and she experienced what a lot of guys experience when they try to shoot their shot with women. Right? They walk up, and sometimes women aren't going to be receptive. Sometimes they are. but it's very unusual for a woman to get to the point where she's like, okay, I'm going to talk to a guy. And when she does, she will sometimes experience that. Sometimes, of course, she'll come across a guy who's like, oh, sweet, right? A pretty woman's talking to me and she's showing interest, and he then feels confident. He talks to her, he asks for a number, and he gets a result with her, she gets a result with him. Great. But sometimes she'll come across a guy who is already taken and he'll respond in that way because of that. Sometimes she'll come across a guy who doesn't really know what to do with the situation and is feeling awkward. And then the interaction ends, and later on he thinks, damn it, why didn't I say this to her? Or I could have said that to keep the conversation going. Or, damn it, I think she was actually flirting with me when she was talking about my Bears hat there. With this girl saying, hey, I like your Bears hat. And he didn't realize that at the time. He wasn't quick enough on his feet to think, oh, hang on, this girl's actually flirting with me. He possibly didn't believe that a woman like her would find him attractive and actually be flirting with him. And in some cases, of course, it's one of the woman-hating men out there who have got to the point where they've seen so many TikTok videos of, negative women, interviews with women saying they want this or that, that he's just shut off and he's not dating anymore because he thinks women's expectations are so high. But this woman is actually trying to talk to him because she's finding him attractive in some way.
Literally asked one of the bartenders, I'm like, are you single? No, he wasn't. I'm a walking L everywhere I go. It's just like a little defeating, I can't lie. But whatever, I mean, I'm not gonna let that bring me down. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. I enjoy going to coffee shops and working from home from coffee shops and editing and doing whatever from there. So I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna keep going out. I'm gonna keep shooting my shot. It's just a little exhausting. That's all I gotta say. It's exhausting.
Yet, if you saw that woman in a coffee shop and she was doing her own thing, you wouldn't think that she was secretly lonely, as she said at the start of the video, and she was exhausted and she was desperate to meet a guy. You wouldn't expect that. Most guys would look at her and think, oh, she's probably got 10 guys that she's seeing via dating apps, and she's probably got 10 guys trying to ask her out in real life. She'll probably be annoyed if I go over and talk to her. I'll be a nuisance. Yet she is desperate to meet someone. Right, so let's have a look at the next clip. With this woman here, she made a bit of a funny clip, which some women do on TikTok, where they're saying, why don't men talk to me? And then they actually record themselves showing their everyday body language. And it's a sort of a realization for them that, I seem a bit standoffish. But there are reasons for that, right? So let's start the clip here. So the last one there, she's only messing around, but essentially many women have that don't talk to me type of body language, and there are reasons for it, right? Because they don't want to be approached by guys who are made to feel welcome to talk to her, who she doesn't want to talk to, right? So guys who are going to be very nervous or creepy or weird, right? So weirdos on the street. Sometimes there are weirdos walking around the street and so on. So she has to keep her guard up. And other times it's because she wants to seem cool, right? She's walking through the world and she wants to seem like a cool girl rather than a girl walking around, looking at people and saying hi, making guys feel like, I can go and talk to that girl, or she seems friendly and open and easy, right? She wants to seem like a cool girl who's got her life together. And if you think about it, many men do the same thing, where they're walking through a public situation and they, want to look cool and they just, chill and very confident and so on. And they're hoping that women find them attractive, or they're hoping that people see them as cool, that other guys feel intimidated by them and so on, right? So there's a bit of acting going on from both men and women. However, you don't need to be intimidated by this type of body language. You've got to understand that no matter how cool or confident or even quote unquote manly a woman behaves, she's never going to be more masculine or manly than you, because you are a man. You have to put yourself in that position. You can't look at women who are behaving in a certain way to scare off weird guys and so on, and to seem cool around other girls, which they do as well. They want to seem like a cool girl around other girls. You can't be thrown off by that and feel like she's more manly than you. If you feel like she's more manly than you, then she's not going to feel attracted to you. Right, so you need to be able to look at these sort of women and see that they do have a cute side behind that facade. And they really do. When you get them back to your place, or you go to their place and you start making out, hanging out, having sex, their cute, giggly, girly side comes out. And you get to see that. But in public situations or social situations, they'll often have that sort of act on. And in most cases, it's not as quote unquote aggressive as this woman is displaying here. Sometimes it's just really being neutral, right? Here's another clip. So she seems kind of neutral and bored and not intimidating, but for a lot of guys, they find that intimidating because she has her headphones in and she seems to be fine in her own little world. And she's not looking around smiling at a guy and trying to show him that she wants to be approached. She's just in her own little world, but she wants to be approached. Okay, and here's a clip where women are actually begging to be approached.
This is a public service announcement for white men. It is okay to approach a Latina.
And she's saying white men there, but it's important not to take what she is saying literally as instructions and think that, oh, Latina women only want to be approached by white men. All Latina women think in the same way. She's just saying that because she's most likely been at a bar with her girlfriend, saw a white guy that she wanted to be approached by, he didn't approach her, and now she wants to just say that on her TikTok. But it doesn't mean a guy from another race can't walk up and talk to her. She's just making that point. So
it is okay to like a Latina. We are equals. We are pretty people. We are also equal to the blondes at the bar.
Even better.
Even better, man.
So she's thinking that the reason why the white guy didn't approach her is that he doesn't see her as an equal, which is just crazy, right? A lot of people get really mixed up with racism and think that white people are going to be looking at a Latina and thinking that she's not an equal. She's just the same. And the majority of white guys will find Latina women attractive, but the reason why the guy doesn't approach is that he's too scared to approach or he doesn't know what to say. Right? So sometimes the guy has confidence, but he doesn't know what to say. Other times, he's assuming that she wouldn't want to be approached by him because he's a white guy. Other times, he's been watching too many TikTok videos where guys are saying that women only want a guy who's 6'3" and jacked and rich. And he's thinking, well, I'm 5'9", I've got a normal job and I don't have big muscles, so what's the point? I'll go over there and they'll probably laugh at me and humiliate me in front of everyone. Whereas women aren't actually thinking like that, right? Some women have been asked in interviews, how tall does a guy need to be with you? And they're not going to say, oh, shorter than me or doesn't matter. They're going to say something that makes them look good in most cases. But you've most likely never come across an interview with a woman where she said that a guy needs to be 6'3" and jacked. Instead, that has come from guys who are insecure making videos on TikTok and YouTube and exaggerating things, saying that guys need to be 6'3" and jacked and be a Chad and then they'll get girls. But women actually haven't said that. What you'll hear them say in response to a question of how tall does a man need to be, they'll then say something that makes them look good. But they're not going around saying, hey, guys need to be 6'3" and they need to be rich in order to talk to me. Instead, when they're asked those sort of questions, how much money does a guy need to be making in order to be with you? They'll say something. And in most cases, they'll say something that makes them look good so they don't look desperate or cheap on social media when the video is posted.
But please, it is okay to approach a Latina at the bar. It is okay.
We will talk to you.
We will talk to you. It is okay. I promise. It is okay. Please approach us. We are all one. We are begging.
We're begging.
We're on our hands and knees. Please approach us.
I'm on my knees.
Like, what the fuck?
So they end up playfully saying that they're begging, but really they are feeling desperate. And that's something that I have noticed, right? I've been helping guys to attract women for more than 20 years now. So I've seen the changes in the dating scene. And back when I was out there attracting and sleeping with women, women were not desperate. It was a different dating scene altogether. But these days, because so many guys are virgins now, right, it's taken a huge percentage of guys out of the dating market. And because so many guys have given up based on what they've seen on TikTok and so on, with so many men talking badly about women and saying that they just want a 6'3" jack guy who's rich, there's hardly any guys walking up and talking to women. To the point where I've noticed that many young women these days are desperate. Now, of course, not all, right? Some women are absolutely fine. They're getting dates, they're getting a boyfriend, they're fine. But I've noticed when interacting with women these days that they seem so much more desperate. And that's women adapting to the changes that have gone on. But for so many guys out there who are stuck in the negative algorithm on TikTok or YouTube where when you watch a video from a guy complaining about women and saying it's all too hard and women are bad and they just want a 6'3" Chad and, it's all screwed now, TikTok and YouTube will serve you more of those videos because it seems like you're interested in those videos. So they want to show you more of those so you keep watching more videos. That's the number one goal for them. And it's not your mental health. It's not like, hang on, we probably shouldn't be showing this guy some negative videos about women here and all these guys complaining about women saying it's all too hard and women are bad and they all just want the 6'3" Chad and so on. We probably shouldn't do that because that'll affect the mental health of men. Instead, it's just an algorithm feeding what it thinks you will watch. And as a result, it's one of the reasons why the virginity rate has skyrocketed and why so many guys have just opted out of dating and given up, because they have been fed information saying that the top 20% of men are sleeping with all the women. And a few months ago, I was coaching a guy who'd been brainwashed by all of that. And he said to me that when he looked at a woman on her phone during the day, his automatic assumption is that she is texting one of these chads from dating apps and she's going to go and have sex with him that night. And all these guys are texting her who are sleeping with her because she's sleeping with all the chads. And he didn't realize that the absolute majority of women don't use dating apps. And the majority of users on dating apps are men, and women have never been the majority users. They've never been the equal users, and they will never be, because it goes against their instinct of attraction. For example, if a man's in a social environment and he's essentially looking around at women, with that pick me sort of energy, like, look at me, pick me. Women feel turned off by that. They see him as insecure, desperate, and confused about how a woman's attraction works. Right, he's hoping to be chosen for how he looks or how he is dressed and so on, but that's what women do. Right? That's the female role, to stand there looking pretty, and then a masculine man looks at her and he's like, yeah, I like that, walks over, talks to her, and quote unquote, in her words, sweeps her off her feet. And that means that he talks to her, he flirts with her, he shows interest in her, he makes her feel feminine and beautiful, and she starts to feel aroused, and he gets her number, or he kisses her, or he takes her home that night, or they go on a date, and she's being swept off her feet by this masculine man who wants her, who values how she looks and then how she is as a person. And she feels like she's with a masculine man now. But many guys will have that pick-me type of energy in social situations where they're standing around hoping that women are going to do that to them. And on a dating app, women get that sense from guys where they're posing in photos where it looks like the guy is essentially saying, pick me, look at me, I'm doing fun things in my life, pick me. And that's one of the psychological reasons why most women do not like and even hate dating apps. It really turns them off, and they would rather meet a guy in real life, right? So with that client of mine, he ended up saying that he felt disgusted by what women were doing on dating apps. And I said to him that if I had his mindset and I thought what he thought, then I would also feel disgusted, right? That women only want these 6'3" chads and they don't want any other guys, then screw this, like women are so superficial. That's all they care about. I can't offer that to them. So yeah, like why should I even want to be with them? But it's not the case. It's just what has been spread by guys on TikTok and YouTube who have taken those sort of interviews from women out of context, and also the numbers from dating apps where when they said that only the top 20% of men get results on dating apps, they didn't also say that the absolute majority of users are men. So the small percentage of women who are using the dating apps end up becoming picky, which is just natural. It's just how things work. If you were able to pick from tens of thousands of women who are lining up to be with you, you could then start to be very picky. It's like, well, actually, no, your boobs are a bit too small there. Yeah, your hip to waist ratio needs to be a little bit better there. So let's see, you're a brunette, but I kind of like a light brunette, not a dark brunette. Your nose is a little bit this or that, and you can start to be very picky as well, if that was the case. But it doesn't work that way, because female attraction doesn't work the way that male attraction works, where men mostly initially focus on the physical and they're ready to have sex or a relationship with a woman simply by looking at her. And that's why guys will say relationship material, marriage material, girlfriend material. I'd have sex with her, I'd do her right away. Okay, so here's another clip here where the girls are saying that the reason they go to a bar is to be approached.
Okay, can we like really talk about for like 1 minute, like why are men not approaching women in the bars anymore? Like, are you guys really that scared? Because we strictly go to the bars because we literally want to be approached. Like, I'm not there just to like hang out with my friends. Like, yes, I want to see my friends, but like I am also there because I want to talk.
And then the video cuts out because this is just a clip of it. They ended up removing it from their TikTok because they were getting a lot of hate and negative comments, where many guys were calling them desperate, or they were saying that you said that you didn't want to be approached, that's why we didn't do it, or you said you wanted the chat, or so on, right? They were getting a lot of hate for it. But this is women literally saying that the reason why they go to a bar is to be approached by guys so that they can meet a guy. But when you go to a bar, women will often have body language that suggests they're not interested in being approached because they don't want to welcome the guys who are drunk to come over and talk to them, or the weird guys and so on. They want to filter that out by having a little bit of closed body language where they just seem like they're enjoying themselves. But really, the reason why they've gone there is to hopefully meet someone, right? She's trying to meet a lover, boyfriend, or husband. That's the reality. Okay, so here's a clip now from some younger girls who look about 18 or something, and they're wondering why boys don't come up and talk to them, and they're thinking it's because they're acting girly and they're acting weird and they need to somehow act a different way, and then guys are going to come over and talk to them. So they're just being girls hanging out, and they're thinking that that may turn guys off and make guys think that they're weird. But the reality is that when some guys who are single see girls like that, they'll find them attractive, but then assume they already have boyfriends, or they don't want to be approached because they're hanging out and they're having a private conversation, or they seem fine on their own, or if I walk up and talk to them, they're going to put me on blast on social media and shame me and humiliate me and so on. But they're hoping that guys will come up and talk to them because they're single and they want to meet a guy. And for some guys, they'll say, well, why don't they just go and walk up and talk to guys at the beach? The problem is that if they do that, many guys will get weirded out by it. They'll think, well, is this a prank or something? Where's the hidden camera? You know, what's going on here? Why are two like young, fairly attractive women coming up and talking to me? What's going on here, right? If I do something here, I'm going to be put on social media and made fun of. Or are they trying to get something from me? Are they going to rob me or something? Which some guys have told me over the years. When they've been approached by a woman, they have that fear of like, is this girl going to try to rob me and maybe drug me and take my kidney or something like that? And in other cases, guys won't really know what to do with it, right? So the girls come up and talk to them, and the guy's feeling so nervous and anxious that he doesn't know what to say and ends up screwing up the conversation, and they end up feeling awkward and rejected, like that girl earlier, where the guy may have actually liked her, the guy with the bear's cap, but he didn't know what to say, and she ended up walking away and saying that she was a loser. Right, so these girls can be afraid of walking over, getting rejected in their mind, even if the guy isn't rejecting them and he's just nervous and so on, doesn't know what to say, and then they end up feeling like a loser. And a woman can also worry that it will be a case of her walking over to a guy or some guys, and then the guys are like, yeah, well, if these girls are showing interest and offering, then sure, I'll have sex with them. And they end up having sex with them and they aren't interested in them, and the woman ends up falling for the guy maybe, and he didn't even like her from the start because he didn't like something about her nose or her weight or the shape of her face or whatever it may be, the size of her boobs. And he's always thinking to himself that he wasn't going to stay with her, but if she's offering, sure, I'll have sex with her. Right? He's thinking that. And she ends up falling for a guy who didn't even like her from the start, and she ends up getting her heart broken, right? So she tries to avoid that as well. So it's a difficult situation for both men and women in the dating scene these days, where most women do not use dating apps and they do not want to use it. They're not going to change their mind. They don't want to do it. And many guys are too afraid to talk to women, or they think that they're going to be interrupting, or they're going to be humiliated in front of everyone if they walk over and talk to her. And there are all these things getting in the way of men and women meeting each other, having sex, and getting into a relationship. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? As you may know, I run a community, and I have members from all across the world who are using my attraction techniques, and they're getting laid and getting girlfriends. And there are guys out there all across the world who know how to make women feel attracted, who feel confident enough to walk up and talk to a woman, who are getting results. And it's actually easier these days because women are so much more desperate. Not all women, but many women really are more desperate, because when you look into the numbers, it makes a lot of sense. Where the amount of men who are virgins is very high, which takes a lot of men out of the dating market. A lot of guys are using dating apps and thinking that pretty much every woman is using dating apps these days. So they are swiping and they're hoping that they're going to get a result, and they're just wasting time on a dating app with a bunch of men and a small percentage of women. And they're being told lies by the media that everyone's using dating apps and so on. And they're wasting their time on that. And they're also having their confidence destroyed, where, for example, they get better photos or they pay for a premium type of access on the app, and then they don't even get results. And it's like, well, women don't want me. So they then give up. They think, well, women these days just want these tall 6'3" chads, and I don't have a chance anymore. So they just play video games and look at porn and focus on other things. And that takes a lot of men out of the dating market. So it's not a case of 50% of men and 50% of women out there, an even ratio to choose from. Instead, the amount of single women that are available is much higher than the amount of single men who are available and are actually trying to get somewhere. So these days, it's so much easier to get results. As I said, I've been helping men for over 20 years, and I've never seen the dating scene as desperate from the woman's perspective as it is these days. And I've seen guys who are total beginners get results so easily. For example, there are members in my community who were virgins, and when they start learning a few attraction techniques, when they have something to do, something to say, when they interact with a woman that's going to spark her attraction, and they give themselves a chance, then they start getting results. It's not rocket science, it's not brain surgery, it's pretty simple, and that is, you've got to say or do something that sparks attraction inside of the woman, and then she starts feeling attracted to you. And then you've got to shoot your shot. You've got to give yourself a chance to move things forward. And if you do that, you get results, because that's what women want. They want to feel attracted to a guy who then moves things forward. Most women aren't that difficult to get with. There are women out there who are very picky and difficult to get with. That is true. But the absolute majority of women aren't as picky and difficult to get with as they may make themselves out to be, or as many guys believe them to be. So this video is to help men, but I also hope that indirectly it helps women out there who are looking for love, who are trying to find a boyfriend, trying to find a husband, that they may finally get approached by a guy in a real life situation who is able to spark some attraction inside of them and then move things forward. All right, you can do that. Guys across the world who haven't taken themselves out of the dating scene and who know how to do it have been doing it, and it's never been easier than it is today.